Hello everybody and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again today, and I hope you're all having a very good day so far. As for me, I'm finally getting around to actually getting this episode recorded, and hopefully I'm able to record all of this in a reasonably short period of time, because I'm not sure how long it's going to be before the upstairs people start making noise again. Apparently they play quite a bit of PUBG, and let's just say they shout at each other at all hours of the day, including sometimes at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's just not much fun. But it seems like they might have gone out for dinner right now, so I'm going to try to get this episode recorded and uploaded, and hopefully by the time they get back I will be done. So, on to the first thing I want to talk about today, and that is this Tier 10 Pan-Asian Destroyer, the Yue Yang. And oh my, I might have just found myself my new favorite Tier 10 destroyer. This thing is mean. Okay, I don't mean like, you know, in clan wars, but in random battles, this destroyer is one mean ship. Very, very good torpedo concealment range. I mean, they're a little bit on the shorter range. Comparatively speaking, Gearing has, I believe, 3 kilometers more range on the torpedoes, which does make long-range torpedoing a little bit easier. This one is a little bit harder, but when you do get ships that you're sort of targeting, they don't have much reaction time, and you can really make their lives very miserable, especially battleships and cruisers. These torpedoes just sort of come out of nowhere, and boom, you know, you get hit by them. And I liked it. I like this destroyer. I think out of the bunch of battles I played with it so far, I'm averaging 109,000 damage. And you know, the whole thing I talked about in the last video, the way about sort of predicting movements and torpedoing a longer range, combined with low reaction times, just evil combination. And I'm hoping to play more of the ship in the not too distant future. Alright, so moving on to another topic, something that I have said that I was going to talk about in detail, but I haven't really gotten around to doing it, so here we go. Because after all, Sail and Chat is where I talk about all sorts of random stuff. Anyways, alright, so this next one's a little bit on the depressing side, to be honest. And it has a lot to do with YouTube's just absolute obsession lately with just demonetizing everything. Like, I don't even know what makes them demonetize stuff, and I don't know what makes them not demonetize things. It's very strange. So here's an example. Like, the video I put out about torpedoes at longer range, nothing happened to it. The video, for example, where I corrected the infographics show, nothing happened to that. That one's perfectly fine too. But then again, I make a video on, you know, data mining French battleship stats, for example, or data mined anything, or information on just sometimes random gameplay, like just totally random World of Warships gameplay. And by the way, World of Warships, for example, is in the title for all the games. They've been categorized as such. All that stuff. Those videos would get hit by the demonetization bot, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what's the parameter that'll cause it to not do that, right? And the other frustrating thing as well as this is, like, every single time I've had something get flagged by the demonetization bot, I've basically said, okay, I'm going to appeal it right away, as they tell us to do. I have won every single appeal. Everything eventually gets reversed. Of course, after, you know, all the views kind of have gone by and you lose all the revenue potential of your video. There isn't like a safe list or anything like that. You know, they'll never give it to you. You just continue to get screwed over video after video after video. And so the consequences for me have been quite drastic, actually. In terms of numbers, I would say that since this whole demonetization thing has been going on, revenue has dropped by half. And it has had immediate effects on me as a content creator. I've immediately had to try to work more. So I've picked up additional hours as a tutor. Still have to make sure that, obviously rent has to be paid and all those normal expenses in life have to be paid for. So obviously, when YouTube decided to do that, priority was to make sure I still have a roof over my head. And so immediately started working more. And of course, having to work more means spending more time having to prep lessons, spending more time having to edit papers, spending more time to do all those things, which means I've had less time to stream. I've had less time to make content. This has had the inadvertent effect that I let down a lot of the Patreon supporters as well. A lot of things that I promised I would do for them, I haven't been able to do. And of course, if you think about it, if I'm not keeping my end of the promise, it's perfectly reasonable and perfectly understandable when patrons start to leave as well. Of course, it's kind of a crappy cycle, right? Because you get screwed over by YouTube, so you try to make up for that. And then because you make up for that by spending more time away from content creation, you end up breaking promises to people that are supporting you. And so, yeah, you end up putting yourself in a bigger hole. And it's kind of just this downward spiral. So now I've got some really hard choices to make. And by the way, for people who've asked me, why don't you stream? Streaming is a good way to do things. Streaming doesn't really work so well where I am right now. Like I said, I share internet connections with other people. I have neighbors who sleep earlier, although not the people upstairs. They're just loud as hell all the time. But for my neighbor, I can't disturb him. The guy works early in the morning and he sleeps pretty early, and I can't stream later on in the evening, which is generally when I would have free time. It's a mess. And yeah, of course, now I'm sharing connection with the people upstairs as well. The downstairs connection for me has died, so now I have crappy Wi-Fi signals. It is like one kind of crappy thing after another this year. I'm really hoping 2017 just like ends and maybe 2018 will be a bit better. I don't know. Let's cross fingers, hope for it. But yeah, I mean, I've hit this point where things are just blah. That's the best way to describe it. But now I've hit a point in the life of this channel where reality is starting to rear its really ugly head. For 3 years, I've managed to keep this channel free of pre-roll ads. I've kept it free of sponsored stuff, and I want to keep it like that way forever. And it would have been okay if YouTube didn't decide that it needed to become social justice warrior extraordinaire for everything. I like I said, I can't understand what their algorithm does at all, because it would flag stuff that are totally harmless and then just at the same time the next day not flag something that is part of the exact same game. I don't know. So yeah, reality has come knocking, and it's not great. So here are my options from what I can tell. Maybe I start doing sponsored content where people say, here's a game, review it, and we'll pay you X amount. There's maybe pre-roll ads that I have to consider maybe putting in the future. Maybe additional push for patrons. Don't know. These are things I have to start looking at in a lot more detail. I don't know what kind of things you guys will be most palatable to you. I would like to hear your opinions on this, so please do leave those in the comment section below. And finally, let's wrap up with something good news related, I guess. There will be a Midway review coming. I know people have been asking for it, but I do want to play the Midway a little bit more before I make a review video, so it's coming. And of course, this month's Know Your Ship episode should be about the Roma. The Roma is coming to World of Warships, and I want to have a nice detailed review for the historical version of that ship. So that one is coming, and it should be an interesting video. The Italians had very interesting designs and design ideas for their ships. So do keep an eye open for that. And now that I finished that thought, my brain suddenly had two other random thoughts to share. One of them is, and this is another question that I have for a lot of people, are you guys still getting notifications from YouTube when I upload a new video? Because something weird's happened with that as well. It seems like YouTube's notification has kind of gone to crap sometimes. So for those of you who are subbed, let me know. Are you still getting like notifications, or have you also been noticing that a lot of notifications and stuff have gone missing? So it's just a really strange thing, because lately I've been looking at my analytics and it's like, yeah, it's like the notifications have just plummeted. There's very little now coming from that, and I'm not sure what's going on. So let me know as well in the comments about that. And one final piece of sort of little updates, news, whatever you want to call it. I still see the occasional question, people asking me, what's happening with the other realistic naval game I'm talking about before. I've talked to developers. They're still working on it. They've run into a little bit of financial difficulties, as they are obviously an independent studio, but they're working on it. So sit tight. That game is on its way. And that's all I'm going to be able to do for a video today. I'm starting to hear noises upstairs again. I believe that PUBG session is going to start again. So I am going to sign off here today. Hope you all have yourselves a very, very good weekend, and I look forward to talking to all of you again really, really soon.